Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we absolutely can, Pascal. How are you today and welcome? Kick off very, very soon, but I'll just quickly introduce you, my friend.
Sure.
Thank you everyone for today's session. We'll be kicking off momentarily now with Pascal Labouze. Now, I'm sorry, Pascal, if I mispronounce your surname, but you can hopefully forgive me with a person whose surname is Majumdar. So we might be in the same war there. Pascal today is from Transport New South Wales, and his keynote will be designing a data strategy and exploring machine learning for the next generation Sydney system. So Pascal, I'll hand over to you. You might be on mute there, Pascal. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. Do you see my screen?
Not just yet.
So Pascal, you'll just need to share your screen in the bottom panel there. And then once you've done that, I can push that to the audience.
Okay. Start again.
Perfect. Off you go.
Are we good? Can someone tell me if...
Yes, yeah. Well, you can hear and see you.
You can hear, see me, and see my screen.
Yep, perfect.
Beautiful. All right. So welcome, everyone. Indeed, my name is Pascal Labouze. I would have loved to see you and do that face to face, but we're still living in this a bit odd world. So I hope that the presentation will be instructive for all of you, and please engage through any means, because if we can make it slightly interactive, that would be much nicer. I'm the Operational Systems Executive Director in Transport for New South Wales, and what I'd like to expose to you in 25 minutes is a bit what are our macro objectives in Transport for New South Wales, what's our technology ecosystem look like, and what we do with data and AI to advance the objectives we've got as an organization. If you hear a background noise, I apologize in advance. It looks like my neighbor just decided to blow their garden. There's not a lot I can do about it. I hope it won't be too disruptive as I go. To get us started, I wanted just to share with you in one slide what Transport for New South Wales objectives were at the horizon 2056. There's been an enormous amount of work done a couple of years ago across the New South Wales government with Department of Planning, Transport, amongst others, to define the high-level strategy of our transport function and services in New South Wales. As you can see, we have 6 key objectives, ranging from the customer focus all the way to the sustainability. I guess the few things I pick up here is that obviously number 1 and 2 is really about balancing out a focus on customers and a focus on the communities, and that transport node solutions are there to serve both the mobility at an individual level and the best options for the community in terms of both movement and places and livability. Of course, the transport networks underpins a strong economy for individuals and freight, etc. Safety performance goes without saying. Accessibility rings to many things, from elderly people to disabled, to having an offer that works both in the city, but also in rural and regional New South Wales, so that anyone, any citizen, finds a service that match their needs. And finally, the theme of sustainability, which is not, of course, specific to transport, but with the rise of electrification, etc., will become is a growing theme in everything we do. This translates for us into our 10-year blueprint, which, if you like, provides a 10-year set of objectives on this slide, derived from this 40-year strategy. And without repeating what I said and reading this slide, I think one thing you can pick on the top right is the concept of connecting our customers' whole lives. Everything we do is about enabling a seamless mobility solution journeys for customers and enabling them to jump from home to work, to entertainment, to leisure, etc., in the most, I guess, comfortable, seamless, efficient way. So, to go in a topic a bit more around technology, a few years ago, we have looked at what is our technology strategy going to be in order to match these macro ambitions, and reflected on what would the future hold. Now, the future is extremely exciting because there is so much happening. It's even super hard to predict. And so what we ended up doing, instead of predicting a future, we predicted a number of scenarios that could happen, would probably happen in some part, to inform our best options in terms of developing a technology strategy and technology priorities. So these scenarios are the four on the right-hand side of your screen, and I'll provide very brief comments on each of them. The first scenario is of course, with the advent of connected and autonomous vehicles, is to imagine that car will be king, that with driverless options, it will be so comfortable and so easy to hop in your car and go anywhere that's going to be the predominant form of transport. Now, of course, we know there is a number of drawbacks to that, but it's fair to assume that connected, automated personal mobility will play a significant role in the future. The second scenario is to leverage the share economy in order to develop mobility solutions by aggregating the demand of where people want to go, when and how, and in an agile perspective, building offers that match the demand in real time, and in order to share infrastructure, share vehicles, share costs, and be more efficient. It's really the sharing economy all mapped to the mobility ecosystem. And we already see that in on-demand services that have developed here and there. UberX is another example of that. So it's really making use of technology and data to aggregate demand on platforms and matching this demand with a multitude of transport options. The third scenario consists in the fact that we will have the mass transit network as we do today as a backbone of our transportation system. And this mass transit network will be more efficient, reaching more places across the state and more citizens. And this mass transit network, which provides fast, reliable services, is then complemented with last mile mobility options, active transport, bikes, e-bikes, scooters, a range of personal mobility options that contribute to providing an end-to-end journey around this fundamental backbone of the system. And the fourth scenario that we imagined, and that was, mind you, a few years ago, is will we be really traveling that much in the future with the advent of all of the video conferencing technologies, telepresence, etc. And of course, last year, 2020, has really accelerated this scenario in showing how much we could do via videos, etc. And therefore, the impact on the transport system is rather to reduce demand. Again, these four scenarios, as I said, the point is not to pick a winner. The point is to imagine that all of these trends and all of this development are going to happen. The ratio and the proportion of each is still to be seen. And deriving from this, we have created 5 technology strategies that are investments that we're doing with no regrets, because they all underpin these various scenarios. And you can see personalizing customer interaction, transforming and making the mass transit network much more efficient thanks to technology, enabling, fostering shared demand responsive services, developing flexibility, shared use, on-demand services, doing a lot of work in enabling connected automated vehicles, so that yes, there is a huge worldwide investment and ecosystem around this, but what can we do as a state to accelerate the take-up here in New South Wales? And creating intelligent transport network with data and using data to both leverage all the intelligence, but also enable decision support tools to better manage the system. And in going forward, I'll probably focus some of my topics on this one, on this last topic. The operating concepts that we face, whatever we look at in managing the transport network and thinking about utilizing technology, is we want to understand what's happening, what has happened, and have the most accurate operating picture of the state of play on our network, the incidents, the roads, the various public transport services, in order to be able to react and manage things as accurately and quickly as possible whenever something happens. It also allows us to derive from what has happened the best transport planning option for the future, in order to constantly adapt our transport system to the need. We also, of course, want to look at predictive analytics in order to imagine what might happen on our transport network with regard to our assets. This applies to a range of technologies and operations, and this helps us be on the front foot in order to maintain assets before they fail, in order to prepare response crews before there is an incident, and in order to prepare a major event, in order for customers to be flowing as efficiently as possible. And finally, prescriptive is all related to helping us, other transport organization, to provide decision support tools, to our operators in the various control rooms to pick the best option and the best course of action in terms of managing the network when anything occurs. This slide is a bit difficult and complex, but I'll try to dumb it down and help you read it. This represents our transport operational technology ecosystem. We're capturing here on this model how all the pieces of technology come together and inform what we do as Transport for New South Wales. The fact that this model is on one page is extremely important to us because, as you would have picked up from what I've presented so far, one of the key today and for the future is to manage the transport network as an integrated system, as an integrated network. And our ability to therefore integrate technology, to integrate data, is paramount to being able to manage the transport, the whole of the transport mobility ecosystem as one. On this slide, you can see that on the right-hand side, under the column called Transport Service Delivery System, you can read basically the high-level value chain of what it takes to manage a transport network, from integrated service planning to more operation planning of services on the network, to a range of operations and tools that exist to manage these operations, to then being assessed the performance of the network, performance of the services. To inform all of this technology, on the left-hand side, we start with a range of sensors that we've got on our rail network, on our roads, CCTV, you name it, track circuits, loops in the ground, etc., that are then through the communication networks that we have, whether they're external network, public network, 4G, ADSL, but we also have our private networks. We have fiber alongside our rails and our roads, etc. I should mention here that 5G will be a remarkable accelerator, enabling and opening a range of new possibilities. In the transport enablers, you can see that we have some constants. We need to manage data. We need data lakes. We need simulation tools. We need master models. Of course, cybersecurity is extremely important in everything we do. And on the right-hand side, all of the data and all of this integrated data that we bring together, we can then distribute it to customers through many forms, through digital channels. For those of you living in New South Wales, you'd use the TripView app, and that's an example of how this data is then conveyed to the customers. The signs on our platforms, whether it's the bus stops or the rail platforms, and any other ways we have to engage with the customers. To link that all together, the light blue bar is an integration mesh. It is really the glue that brings this all together and requires a lot of work to make sure that the data is integrated, is distributed, is stored, and is shared. And of course, we also work within a whole ecosystem. And so there is a range of information partners that are represented at the top that provide this whole of ecosystem picture that we need to deliver most efficient and customer friendly operations. So talking about data, I think I've put a few themes on these slides just to indicate a bit the latest trends in terms of data. In New South Wales, more and more we look at data at the whole of government level, integrating transport data, but also with healthcare data, education data, in order to really put the citizen at the center the value we want to deliver and be able to link data together to be able to deliver this experience. In order to achieve that, we're also building a digital twin at a whole of government level. First steps have been taken, and it will be a just ongoing journey to make this digital twin more and more accurate with more and more layers and delivering more and more services. I spoke about the integration mesh. Sensors goes without saying, IoT and all of the commodity sensors that exist nowadays just make it so cheap and easy to collect information and relevant information, as long as we are clear about the use case, as long as we are clear about the operating model, and take into account, of course, all of the security and privacy issues. There is a range of additional application we can build with the sensors. And data governance, I guess, sounds probably like a bit of a boring topic, but it's so essential to go from a very tactical use of data, which is absolutely delivering low-hanging fruit successes, delivering value, and we've done a lot of that, to building the data ecosystem at the organization level, at even a government level, and be really in a position to then take the next step in terms of integration and delivery of whole of value chain value. So a few examples of AI and sensors. I think some of the most common examples that we have at the moment is we're doing a range of trials with putting AI on CCTV. First, in the control room, the picture you see of, which is our transport management center, looking at how we can detect incidents just using our CCTV network before we even receive a call or before even police is being called. There is a range of obstacles that need to be overcome. Some cameras are mobile. We need to filter out a number of false positives, but we are seeing year after year more accurate models kicking in and bringing more and more value to our personnel in the control room in order to inform what we do. Other applications that are also the subject of some research and trial at the moment is using images to detect violent behaviors in order to be able to prevent violence at train stations, for instance, rather than react when it's too late. The other field of investigation is to be able to use images to detect someone that would have ideas of self-harm, and here also being able to raise an alert and intervene before it's too late. The second field, I guess, where we use data and artificial intelligence is in our network modeling tools. We have built, together in partnership with Data 61, a fantastic transit assignment tool that really pulls our data from the road, from our Opal system, which is the ticketing system in New South Wales, movement of public services, of buses, of trains, etc., in order to really be able to learn, firstly, how the network operates, but especially how it operates in case of incidents, and be able to simulate if I have a disruption at this area in the network, on a road or on a train corridor, for instance, what will be the options available to my passengers, and what are going to be the best options. And as we implement these best options, learn from what's happening next to then, in a feedback loop, inform and refine this transit assignment model. It's topical to say that we have used this transit assignment model to help out our colleague from the Department of Health doing some simulation with regard to the spread of the COVID virus and to be able to, with data about the resilience of the virus, etc., be able to estimate if we didn't do a good job at managing, the epidemic, what could be the impact. Fortunately, as we finalized this modeling, it became clear that we are able to, we wouldn't need it too much, but it has still informed our cleaning regime on all our public transport, and established the value of the cleaning, of additional cleaning versus non-cleaning. So we've been able to use this quite powerful assignment models to inform what we did. When it comes to operating systems, we've put a few examples here. We also have a number of engines relying on AI and machine learning. PTIPS is our system tracking all of our bus services in the state, and we're using here a machine learning algorithm to look at the buses in front, etc., to predict very accurately the arrival time of the bus at all the stops on their route, and up to 90 minutes in advance. With SCATS, which is a system managing all of our traffic signals, we use those AI algorithms to optimize the traffic signals. And ICMP is our whole of network optimization system. We are currently developing a solution to embed into this whole of network management tool decision support algorithm to help our operators taking the best decision in case of an incident. Of course, AI is everywhere in emerging transport modes, in automated shuttles, automated vehicles. We're looking at a future where, when we'll have sufficient number of vehicles communicating, being able to overlay some intelligent traffic routing algorithms in order to distribute the traffic across the network and reduce congestions. Of course, there is a number of ethical and topics around that. I don't have time to go into that, but there is a range of opportunities in the emerging transport landscape to leverage data in our AI in order to cater for less congestion, a more seamless transport network, and more mobility options for customers. We have, of course, developed a number of customer-facing tools, and have got chatbots that on Alexa, Siri, etc., are able to inform you about your bus trips and the time it takes, etc. That has been very pioneering and very well received, and is constantly improving as we go. Just more or less on time, so I'll just summarize to say that we're here in a very rapidly evolving field of expertise, where tools come out every 6 months and allow us to tackle a new frontier. And we like to partner with academia, industry, to trial new solutions and always push the boundaries of what we can do to deliver a better customer experience and deliver more efficient operations. Again, one of the important aspects for us at the moment and going forward, as we are refreshing our technology roadmap that I've presented to you, we're working on it and to get it to take the next level. This integration across governments and across not only the public sector but private sector is absolutely growing in importance and in the ability to do more. I guess I will leave my presentation here, because there is so much that's happening and that's likely to happen in the next few years and 5 years that we could spend the day, but for the sake of keeping this time, I think I will leave it here.
Outstanding. Thanks so much for that keynote, Pascal. I'm just waiting on hopefully a couple of questions from the audience. One question that I had, mate, was just around you'd gone through a hell of a lot of technology and infrastructures that you've rolled out over the last couple of years at TNSW. How's the organization prioritized, I guess, the right technology, which is not only fit for purpose today, but also adaptable and future fit as well?
It is difficult to answer with one single answer because beyond what I've presented here, which is really the importance of the integration of technology and data, when you go, for instance, to look at the future of your rail network, you still then go on to very more specific rail technologies, where indeed you have some various options and you have to place a bet on the future in terms of where you invest, and rail investment take 10 to 15 years. So it is important. I guess we are constantly engaging with the private sector is the first part of the response. Second part of the response is we are trying to build an ecosystem that allows us to integrate more that we don't know of yet. For instance, I presented the integration mesh on our technology ecosystem. This is a way for us to build a capability here to be ready to ingest data of future mobility options, private, public, some we know of today, some we probably don't even know of. Drones are going to be all over us in a number of years, for instance. But having the capability to define standard interfaces, standard ingestion mechanisms, standard storing and sharing mechanism prepares us for the future to leverage what will come next.
Yeah, fantastic. No, it's a really good way to answer. And I suppose, I wasn't expecting a one-stop shop answer for that one, because I do know TNSW would be outlaying a big sort of time and cost investment in some of those in those integrations as well. Just quickly, mate, finally, before we let you go, what was your biggest success this year? Or this year, or let's say last year, because we're only 3 months into this year.
Look, I talk about two successes. One, this integration mesh that I have presented, it's a horizontal line on this presentation, but it is real. We now have a cloud-hosted platform that allows us to integrate the data from various transport solutions and transport modes, to integrate them and to redistribute them to our various control centers, people in planning, etc. So to have made that a reality has been several years in the works and is now in operation. The second thing that we have taken decisive steps with is our transformation of the technology underpinning our rail network. We are well on the way to deploy in-cab signaling, which will basically increase services on our rail network by 30%, just thanks to technology and more reliable driving of the trains. And we're well on our way to do this.
Awesome. Pascal, thank you so much for your time and amazing insights today. If there are any more questions, please do put them in the chat, but we will wrap up for this morning's session. We're just going to go to a bit of a break now, not only from 11:54 at the moment, and we'll all reconvene at 1:15 after lunch. So that is 1:15 Australian Eastern Standard. And we'll kick off with a panel around how to build a culture of disruption, advocacy, and facilitate the evolution of your digital capability at 1:15. So thank you very much, everyone who attended today. And thank you again, Pascal, for your time and insights.
You're very welcome. See you.
Thanks.